Hi everybody! It has been such a long time since I've done one of my Couch Chronicles series, and I thought this would be a great time to do one because I have a crazy story to tell y'all, like literally a near-death experience that I have to share with y'all today. So I thought, you know what, it's time for me to do a Couch Chronicles, and these are basically where I just sit down on the couch and talk to y'all. This is a great way to get to know me better and to find out a little bit more about me. So that's what we are doing today. I'm going to be sharing a crazy story with y'all. Oh my goodness. And I know a lot of you out there are going to relate. So if you want to sit down, chill, talk with me, have some cookies, have some hot chocolate, then stay tuned. Let's get into the video. Alrighty, so like I said, I really just wanted to sit down and talk with y'all today about a recent experience that I had. And I do have some hot chocolate right here. I got my whipped cream because I always like to top that off. I'm a whipped cream addict, and I got some chessman cookies because that's my favorite way to have my hot chocolates, with some Pepperidge Farm chessman cookies. But yeah, I haven't done one of these in so long, y'all. It almost feels a little bit weird, but these are like one of my favorite videos to do. I don't know why I don't do them more often, but I actually really like doing these. But anyway, gotta talk to y'all about something. Let me get a sip in. This Trader Joe's hot chocolate is so good. Anyway, so getting into the topic, you guys, like I said, I recently had a near-death experience, and it was something that came at me so far from the left that I never even expected it. So just to tell you guys a little bit about me, I'm the kind of person, I've never really been sick in my life. I've never had anything major wrong with me. I don't have asthma. I don't have any kind of conditions. So I never really had the experience of being sick or being hospitalized. So what happened to me freaked me out so bad. So this is what happened. You guys know I work for a law enforcement agency, and I work out in the field. So I started experiencing shortness of breath. Like really, it was very taxing for me to just walk from my bed to the bathroom. And I knew something was wrong, but I'm just the kind of person, like, I have to almost be dead to go get checked out, even though I have like the best insurance you could ever get. It's like the weirdest thing. But anyway, so a couple of days at work, I was having this experience where anytime I exert myself, even the slightest exertion, I'm talking about walking on level ground, no stairs, no nothing, I could not breathe. And so of course, immediately I thought I had COVID, went and got a test immediately, came back negative. And so I'm like, what the heck could be wrong with me? So one day at work, I couldn't really do my job. Literally, I couldn't even do my job. So I was like, you know what? I gotta go to the doctor. Left work, went straight to the doctor. Got to the doctor, she was checking me out. I'm telling her my symptoms. So basically, if you guys saw my How to Have Better Periods video, I mentioned in that video that I have frequent periods. So like what was happening to me was my period was coming like a week, and then I'll have a week off, and then it'll come back for a week, and then I'll have a week off. So I wasn't getting the 28 days. Every now and then it would skip for 2 weeks and then come back, but I never was getting the full, 24 to 28 days cycle that your period is supposed to wait. I was having them frequently. But honestly, talking to so many people, I just thought, you know what, I have fibroids because I am a fibroid carrier. And I thought, this is just what happens when you have fibroids. And I'm not willing to get any surgeries like that because I still want to have at least one kid. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna have to deal with it like everybody else deals with it. So getting back to me going to the doctor, went to the doctor, and I explained to her what was going on with my cycles, that I was getting them too frequently or whatever. So she, as a doctor, and you guys might hear the gardener outside, I don't know why he's coming so late. This guy's like the worst guy. He comes at like 4 o'clock. Anyway, but she as a doctor immediately put 2 and 2 together that I might be anemic, just based on the symptoms that I was telling her, the shortness of breath, and I was also having like some little sharp pains in one of my legs, my left leg. She was like, no, I'm sending you to the emergency room right now. I don't like the way this sounds. You have nothing wrong with you. And the whole time you've been sitting here, your heart rate has not gone down, because my heart was beating really fast on top of the shortness of breath. So she sent me to the emergency room. They immediately took me in, started checking my vitals and whatnot, started running a few tests. I guess quickly they realized that I was severely, and I mean severely, anemic. I had less than half of the amount of blood that you're supposed to have in your body. You're supposed to be at level 12 as far as your blood oxygen level. I was at 5.6, so I was less than half of the amount of blood, and my blood oxygen level was so extremely low, meaning at any point in time I could have had a stroke, I could have had a heart attack, I could have dropped dead, because blood was not pumping to my heart the way it's supposed to. On top of that, y'all, on top of that, I had blood clots in my lungs and in my left leg. So I'm walking around short of breath, can't breathe, can't function, thinking, I don't know what the hell's wrong with me. And I literally had blood clots in my lungs and in my leg. You want to talk about freaked out, you guys? Like I said, I'm the kind of person, I have never been sick. I've never had anything wrong with me. And so literally knowing that now I am having blood clots in my lungs, having blood clots in my legs, admitted to the hospital. I was in the hospital for 7 days straight, having to get an immediate procedure on my fibroids, which I'll talk about a little bit later, and just the fear of having to get blood transfusions, because they told me I'm gonna have to immediately get blood transfusions while I'm in the emergency room because I didn't have enough blood in my body. And so there's the fear of COVID, other diseases that, you know, are carried through blood. Just all kind of fears were popping into my mind. All kinds of fears were popping into my mind, you guys. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I cannot believe that this is happening to me. I don't even like, y'all saw the video where I had the cold sore. I don't even like having a damn cold sore. I don't like anything being wrong with me. I'm not a hypochondriac, one of those people that just like to be sick or like the attention of being sick or post themselves with a, you know, medical band like I'm dying. No, I don't want nothing to be wrong with me. I don't want no sympathy. I don't want nothing. I want to be completely healthy. So it really affected me emotionally to go through something like that, like just being admitted in the hospital bed and all that stuff. But I knew it was necessary because I wanted to recover, and I didn't want to, you know, worry my sister. Y'all know I have a twin, so of course immediately she's worried because you have that twin energy. And so she's worried that something's going to happen to me. And of course my dad, my mom, all my family members, they're all calling because I'm telling them now I'm in the hospital or whatever. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and insert some footage. Like I said, I'm not the kind of person who seeks sympathy, but I did decide while I was in the hospital during the 7 days that I would talk about this in a video, because I know other women out there are dealing with this. So I did create like some footage when I was in the hospital for you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and insert that right now, a little clip from when I was actually in the hospital. So this is my 5th day in the hospital. I originally came in because I was experiencing shortness of breath and having trouble walking, like with my muscles flaring up, and just overall no energy, not feeling good. And I came in to find out that my hemoglobin levels were 5.6 when they should be at 12, and I had blood clots in my lungs and in my left leg, all because of my fibroids. So been in the hospital 5 days, almost a week, because of my fibroids, because of the frequent periods. It just depleted my body of blood, and I became severely anemic, and yeah, basically I wasn't getting enough blood pumping to my heart, pumping to my muscles, and just pumping through my body. My oxygen levels were really low. So I can't even believe it. You know, I knew that fibroids can be dangerous and be a problem, but I never really thought that, you know, the periods that I was having was depleting my body of blood. So I just want to share this and warn everybody out there, like, really pay attention to your body. And if you suffer from fibroids that are making you bleed a lot or bleed frequently, make sure you're getting your hemoglobin levels checked regularly, because you might need to be on an iron regimen, or you could be anemic. I ended up having to get blood transfusions and everything, something that I've never had to do in my life. I've never had any health issues in my life. So yeah, anyway, just wanted to share that, but I'm feeling so much better. I look a mess. I don't even want to show my hair. I look a mess, but I'm feeling so much better, and I'm just grateful to be alive. Just grateful to be alive. Sorry, y'all, I had to refresh my whipped cream. But like you saw, I was in the hospital. I was in there for 7 days straight, and I ended up having to get a blood transfusion. I had to get 3 bags of blood because my blood was so low. On top of that, I had a procedure done on my fibroids called embolization, which I'm sure a lot of you have had out there. It's basically where they cut off the blood supply to the fibroids. All of my fibroids happen to be outside of my uterus. So thankfully, cutting off the blood supply, I might still have a chance of being able to have, you know, get pregnant without any issues. But knowing my age, with my age, I'll probably need to get some type of in vitro or some type of help. But I'm not too worried about that. I think I'm pretty healthy. I take care of myself. Other than this, you know, this is like the exception, something that just happened. But other than that, I really do try to take care of myself. So I'm not really worried too much about that. But getting back to the procedures, like being in the hospital, they didn't want to release me until my blood levels were at a decent level where I could breathe normal and I could walk around and stuff like that. So they were giving me iron infusions and like bags of iron straight into my IV to really like help me to create more blood and so forth. But you know, with the constant bleeding, it's like you're creating more blood, but you're still bleeding, you know, because that's what the fibroids do. And the embolization didn't immediately make them stop. They actually had to put me on something to get my period to go back to normal, basically. So thankfully, I am about a month out of the situation, and my period has gone back to normal. Like, I didn't have it for the last 4 weeks, and then it came and it was normal and it went away like normal. So hopefully things are getting back to normal. I definitely know that my fibroids have shrank because mine were the size of like oranges, and that's pretty big, you know. So I definitely know that they have shrank because I've seen the doctor since the embolization, and he confirmed that they are going down. But just to talk about it a little bit more, let me have a sip first, y'all. You know, talking to my friends, because all my friends, all my family, they really checked on me, and they were worried, you know, just like I was. But just talking to some of them, I found out from so many of my friends, family members, cousins, aunts, distant family members, that a lot of people deal with this. A lot of women are out there just dealing with this, bleeding heavily for long periods of time, or frequently, like frequent periods, and it just becomes a part of their life, like it was a part of mine. Like, I knew I needed to always have, you know, feminine products with me because my period could come at any time, and the flow was almost always heavy. And so it just became part of my life. Like, I started carrying a much bigger purse so I could have all my stuff in there with me. You know, I took an extra uniform to work because, you know, sometimes you have accidents when you're bleeding like that. And it's almost like we as women who are dealing with fibroids and who are dealing with frequent periods and issues related to the fibroids, or some may even have some type of cervical issues that are not fibroids, it's like we just accept it as a part of our lives. And I'm like mad at myself that I just didn't go to the doctor sooner and deal with it, rather than just accepting that this is just the way it is when you have fibroids. Like, I really didn't think about the options because I was so closed-minded to any option that could affect my fertility. So because of that, I kind of put myself even more at risk by telling myself, you know what, no, I'm not getting any surgeries. I don't want to weaken my uterus. I'm already older. You know, I'm past the age where, you know, you considered a high risk pregnancy or whatever. I'm in that age bracket. So I was just like, no, I'm just gonna deal with it. You know, me and my boo can get it in when I'm not, you know, on my cycle. That's fine. But it really does change the whole rhythm of your life. And so many of us just accept it. Like, it's to the point where I really want to like write about this, because I think that a lot of women out there are dealing with this, and they're just making it, just accepting it as just, this is just the way it is. I bleed a lot. I have my period for a month straight. I talked to somebody who had their period for a year straight, and she said she just dealt with it, you know. And I'm like, what the hell? you could be like me, thinking that you have issues or low energy, because I was also low energy. I just was tired, you know, I didn't feel like doing anything. I would come home, all I could do was just take my shower and go to bed. And usually I do work on my videos, I do all kind of stuff when I get off work. I couldn't do any of that. I didn't have no damn blood in my body pumping to my damn heart. Like, it's real, you know? And so I think a lot of us are just accepting it that have fibroids, especially Black women, because we really just kind of deal with things. I think it's almost been ingrained in us that we have this non-existent higher pain tolerance and this, you know, whatever, that we think we're like super women, and we just let things take over us and we just deal with them rather than actually doing something about it or acknowledging the pain and the suffering that we're going through. And so I'm just like, you know what, I really kind of beat myself up for a minute for not going to the doctor sooner, but I'm glad that everything played out the way it did, because I literally could have died. Like, had I waited, I could have went to sleep one night and not woke up. I didn't have enough blood pumping to my heart. Like, you can just die in your sleep like that, you know? So it's pretty crazy. So just to let you all know, since I've gone through all of this and gotten out of the hospital, they did put me on a blood thinner for like a month. And then when my blood oxygen levels got back to normal and everything, they took me off of it. And because of, you know, just risks and, you know, my line of work, I really don't need to be on a blood thinner. So they took me off of it and put me on another, like, less invasive type of medication for now. And, you know, now I'm just working with my doctors. I have a really great team of doctors. I am so blessed, because, you know, the medical nightmares out there, especially for African American women, is real. The care that we get can be so inconsistent and just, you know, much less in quality than other races. So it's just nice to actually have a team of doctors who truly care about you, who truly listen to you, who care about the fact that I still want to have kids, that I still have things to do in my life, and who want to get me on that path. Is such a blessing. Like, it's such a blessing, because I know some women out there are just, you know, there's always a suggestion, just get a hysterectomy, just get a hysterectomy, you know. And it's like, I don't want a hysterectomy. I wouldn't even want that if I didn't want kids. I don't want my female organs removed, even if I didn't want kids, for my own personal reasons. I have my beliefs and understandings about when those things are removed. And also I know people who have had bad experiences from getting a hysterectomy, so family members. So it's just not an option for me. So, you know, I'm just grateful to have doctors who hear me and who understand that and who aren't like pushing something that I don't want. But I have since gotten 2 iron infusions, and I'll insert some footage from one of those. And it's basically just where you go and you sit in a chair and they hook up a bag of iron and an IV, and that drains into you just to help pump up your iron levels. Because I do take iron every day now, which I never did in my life. Took iron, I never had to, but I do take iron every day now, and just over-the-counter iron. But that iron infusion at the doctor's office is just a way to kind of like really boost my iron levels up, and that was done to help me to get off the blood thinners and whatnot. But it's just been such an eye-opening and crazy experience to go through something like that, and I decided I wanted to talk about it on camera, because I know that some of y'all out there are dealing with that. Because when I did the how to have better periods video, I noticed in some of the comments, some of you guys were like, oh girl, I dealt with that period mess for, you know, however long, and it was a nightmare, and I'm so glad I'm over that and done with that. So I know some of you out there have dealt with, you know, having fibroids and dealing with the heavy periods and the frequent periods and all that stuff. So I wanted to definitely talk about it, because I want you to know, for one, that you're not alone, and for two, there are options out there to help deal with the situation. There's a lot of options actually that I didn't even know about before this all happened to me. So that's one reason why I really just wanted to talk about it on camera, you guys. If you are frequently bleeding heavily, bleeding to the point where you are spilling all over yourself, that is not normal. It's not normal, and you shouldn't just set yourself up to deal with it by stocking up on pads and this and that. You need to go to the doctor and get yourself on a plan to get either rid of the fibroids or do something about the bleeding, because there are drugs out there that can help to stop that and regulate that as well. But don't just settle for it. Don't just say this is it, I just have to deal with it, because that's where I was. And you know, time is of the essence when it comes to life, and I wish I could get the time back that I've spent just sitting up dealing with this issue, like literally not going places because I'm bleeding so heavy that I'm like, I don't want to bleed on myself, I don't want to get it on my clothes, I don't want to have that issue, I don't want to get up out of a seat and there's blood on it. Girl, I was there, okay? And it just makes me think, like, why didn't I really go to my doctor sooner and say, look, I need something done about this? So yeah, if there's anything I can tell you, ladies, don't do that to yourself. Don't. All right, ladies, so now that we've had this little chitty chat and I've told you guys my experience that I had and how awful it was and what I'm dealing with now to, you know, get myself back 100% and, you know, hopefully start working on having a kid soon. I want to know how many of you all out there can relate to what I've been through, or have dealt with this, or are dealing with this right now. I would love to know that. Like I said, I'm really thinking about writing about this because I think that so many women out there are dealing with this. Many more that even speak on it, because I didn't even know so many of my friends and family had dealt with it until this happened to me. And I talked to some of them and they were like, girl, I bled for almost a year. And I'm like, what? Like, you know, or girl, I bled for a month straight, or, you know, my period comes so heavy I have to wear this type of, you know, pad or device or panties or whatever, it's because it overflows constantly. You know, I didn't know that so many people were dealing with this until it happened to me. So I'd love to know, are you all dealing with this? Don't feel ashamed or shy to talk about it in the comments. Like, it's not our fault. Fibroids are not something that we can control whether or not we get them. I know that there are things we could probably do to mitigate them. I know that they're affected by our hormone levels, and maybe diet could be a way to kind of control them. But I think even then, if they're hereditary to you, or if your body just starts to create them, I honestly think it's not that much you can do about it. For those women who don't get them, I really don't know why some of us get them and why some of us don't. I have no clue. I don't even think doctors know. None of my doctors really know exactly why they happen. They know that they're more frequent. They frequently occur with African American women more so than other races. They do know that, but they don't know exactly why. You know, it's not your fault. It's not any of our fault that this happened. So definitely it's not something to me to feel ashamed of. I'm on video talking about it or whatever, putting it on YouTube in my YouTube history. So I'm definitely not ashamed of anything that happens to my body as far as being a woman goes. You know, I'm not ashamed to talk about, you know, having spilled on myself, blood on myself, you know, once in a while. It happens. Like, it's nothing to be ashamed of. And men, if y'all watching this, you're very blessed. You don't have to deal with this stuff, okay? Because it's a lot. It's a lot. So, but yeah, I would love to know if anybody has dealt with anything like this. What were your solutions? What did you do about it? Did you have kids before you discovered you had fibroids? Did you get pregnant with fibroids? Because I'm looking at probably trying to have a baby with my fibroids still. Of course, they are shrinking, but I don't know if they're gonna shrink all the way down or go completely away or come out. There's so many things that can happen with the body. But I'm grateful that the embolization did work. I hope that it does not affect my fertility, because it is cutting off a certain amount of blood flow to my uterus. But hopefully everything will be okay. I've done my research. I know that there have been thousands upon thousands and thousands of women who have had pregnancies, successful pregnancies, after getting embolization, and even after getting surgery, the myomectomy, where they actually remove the fibroids. So I know it's possible. You know, it might be a little bit harder at my age because I'm over 35, but I know it's doable, and I'm gonna take the best care of myself so that I can have every chance possible to have a baby when I get married soon, y'all. I'll let y'all know. But yeah, talk to me in the comments. I really want to know. I'm trying to learn as much as possible about this, because I just feel like this experience was enlightening for me. Like, where was I? I guess because I've never been sick, I was living in a bubble in a way when it comes to health, you know, your overall health. I was in a bubble. I just thought you work out, you eat, try to eat as best you can, take care of yourself, and you'll be fine. And then boom, something like this happened, put me on my back for 7 days in the hospital. So I want to know. I want to know what What song am I singing? Anyway, talk to me in the comments. Thank y'all so much for sitting through another episode of Couch Chronicles with me. I didn't really dig in like I usually have a little plate of food with me, but I already ate before I sat down to do this video, so that's why I just got my little hot chocolate with me. I should have faced it towards the tree, y'all, but I'm sure y'all saw my little tree video. My tree is up. I think on the next Couch Chronicles, I'll do it with the tree, like sitting in the chair next to the tree. So that'll be cute, because I do have another one coming up for y'all. So yeah, so fun to sit down and talk with you guys and tell you my experience. I am okay. Don't worry about me, girl. My eyes are open. We're enlightened. We woke over here, okay, when it comes to all this stuff, okay? But I want to hear about y'all's stories. I can't wait to check these comments out. I love y'all so much. Thank you again for watching, and I will see all of you guys on the next video. Stay safe. Happy holidays. Love y'all. Bye, y'all.